der Mann in der roten Ecke aus Ghana, wurde geboren am 5.8.77. Er hat 11 Kämpfe, 11 Siege, 9 durch K.O. Charles Adamu wiegt 74,0 Kilogramm. Vitaliy Tsypko, der Mann in der blauen Ecke, wurde geboren am 3.6.76. Er hat ebenfalls 11 Kämpfe, 11 Siege, 8 durch K.O. Vitaliy Tsypko wiegt 75,8 Kilo. Ehrenrichter aus Schweden, Michael Hoch.
Well, the formalities are completed, and Adamu, always in good shape, been a pro since 2001, and Tsypko turned pro back in 1999. Super middleweight contest this. There's our promoter Wilfred Sauerland fiddling with his tie. Probably a nervous moment for him. And just goes to show you the value of these international or intercontinental titles. Tsypko won something called the IBF AS title, did nothing with it. Then he won the IBF Intercontinental, did nothing with that. If he wins this WBA International, what will he do with that? Who knows? Adamu, by the way, a former African champion, and as I say, reigning Commonwealth champion too. So, Tsypko, the southpaw in the blue and white from the Ukraine. And the Ukrainian boxers, by the way, not my cup of tea. Competent, technically competent that is, but they fail to excite, in my opinion. And Tsypko has got the skill, undoubtedly, here to make life awfully difficult for Charles Adamu. Adamu does have a bit of power. He stopped 6 in 7. Undefeated. And Tsypko, he stopped 8 of 13. A couple of lefts there getting through from Vitaliy Tsypko. And Adamu's going to have serious problems here trying to connect on this elusive target. As I say, he's very good at what he does, Tsypko. And he's almost an attacking counterpuncher. He'll just creep closer and closer to you until you commit yourself, and then he'll make you pay for that. And as you can see, Adamu's trying to counterpunch the counterpuncher here, and that often means you come second best. So both men, they're not exactly with glowing statistics on their records, but looking to improve. And something's got to give here, barring a draw, which of course no one wants in a title fight. An unbeaten record will go here. Last few seconds and have a decent start here for the Ukrainian. And by the way, Zuma Nelson set up a pretty nifty training setup in his native Accra, and a lot of the Ghanaian boxers use it. Good start then for Tsypko, winning 10-9 in the first. So Vitaliy Tsypko, there he is, 26 years of age, and Adamu's 25. And I was amazed at the recent European Amateur Championships where the Russians had 9 finalists and 9 gold medal winners. That's quite something, isn't it? And the interesting thing is they all box like professionals. Every one of them. Here we go then, this is round 2 of a scheduled 12. At stake. Well, it doesn't matter what's at stake. Not to me. And I've got to say, to quote Mickey Duff, Tsypko is probably the head of the Who Wants Him club. He is a very technical boxer who's very hard to catch and hurt. Very good reflexes, good defensive awareness. And Adamu, you know, he likes to steam forward and chuck his shots, but he's getting another nightmare journey like he did against Matthew Barney. Although he beat Barney, you know, it was by no means an easy feat. Big slashing shot there from Adamu, just whizzing over the head. So they're looking for a right jab, left cross combination here from Tsypko. Maybe just a little bit too early to start knocking in the big shots here. Well, left cross there from Tsypko.
Work it out.
Well, Adamu not getting too far at the moment, is he? Not at all.
Top! That's up with the head. Good. Out.
Well, Charles Adamu is going to get awfully frustrated here. So another good round then for Vitaliy Tsypko, 2018. He's leading by 2 points, and the further this one goes, I've got a feeling the further he's going to win by.
Приловчися к нему потом. Приловчися сюда. Вот сейчас ударил короткий вот это на все. Подправил очень.
So we're looking at the favourite for this particular championship, Vitaliy Tsypko from the Ukraine, who's won the first couple of rounds in action against the African from Ghana by the name of Charles Adamu. Round 3 then. Left cross there again from Tsypko. And one big mistake that Tsypko does make, he doesn't move off to his own right often enough against an orthodox boxer. and that might leave him vulnerable to a right cross, but I think you need a pretty meaty punch to bother Tsypko.
Watch the steps.
Adamu's still, well, thrashing away, but just swiping the air, really. Well, looks like his unbeaten record is under serious threat here. Tsypko looking to go 14-0. This could be the end of the road, as I say, for Adamu's unbeaten record, and this is 8th pro fight, 8th verifiable professional fight.
Watch the steps.
Adamu there, once again, missing with that right hand. And misses are very, very exhausting, by the way. You don't want to do that on a regular basis. Even falling short with the jab, because Tsypko's so aware. And Tsypko's the kind of guy, given the opportunity, who'll win titles, but he won't win too many friends. And so far, I think you can count the punches, regardless of the quality, that Adamu's landed on the fingers of one hand. Which isn't to say he's not trying, he certainly is. And it's that effort and lack of success that will culminate in his mind and frustrate the life out of him. And that's a typical example. Last few seconds out of round 3, and another good round this for the Ukrainian.
Time!
Yep, 10-9 again. 30-27 then. And if Adamu wins around here, I'll be very surprised. So a bit of replay then. Adamu there falling short. And just about making contact there.
Ringfall zur 4. Runde, Round 4.
What's the steps? Boom, boom. What's the steps?
Round 4. And I don't know, by the way, what the amateur form of Tsypko was, or indeed of Adamu, but I've got a feeling Tsypko was the kind of guy who could have done almost anything, really, with this kind of style, which he's honed, of course, as a pro. You might ask the question, how does Charles Adamu and Vitaliy Tsypko get selected to box for this particular title? Well, same old story, I'm afraid. Availability and the opportunity and the chance of doing business with their prospective connections, and that's really all it takes these days. Not about ability anymore, not about your place in the rankings, it's just about doing business. And I suppose in some ways that's fine, but in lots of others, of course, it does fly in the face of a meritocracy, which boxing is, largely, or used to be. You know, you got where you were because you earned it. Not anymore. So a good hustling, bustling round this for Adamu, but still not landing enough clean punches for my money. Just because you're flying forward and your hands are thrashing doesn't mean to say you're picking up the points by any means.
Right. Yeah, come push, yeah.
English is the international language when it comes to boxing. If you get two boxers of different nationalities, English is generally always used. Although that sentence didn't make a great deal of sense. Can you have generally always? I don't think you can. English is generally used. I think it was probably more accurate.
Yeah.
Dutch just wouldn't cut it, would it? Well, nothing particularly major done by either fighter in this fourth round, and as a result, it's going to be hard to split them. Tsypko has been containing Adamu, and Adamu has been flying forward, and in fact Adamu might just get this on the strength of that, although he hasn't landed too many clean punches, but he might just get it. 37-39 then. Tsypko's still very much in front. So a bit of replay here then. Big slapping right there from Adamu, landing on the shoulder. Nothing coming in cleanly from Tsypko. And that's the reason, is because they're both trying too hard.
Ringfrei zur 5. Runde, Round 5.
Here we are, round 5 then of our main event. And interestingly, Adamu in his seventh pro fight, travelled the full route, 12 rounds to beat Matthew Barney for the Commonwealth crown. And so far, that is not a feat that Tsypko has achieved. He's only gone 10. In fact, he did a 10-rounder in his 5th pro fight. One on points over 10, and also one last time on points over 10 rounds against Francisco Mora. Well, left hook there from Adamu. Takes a left cross though. Once again, a sign there that poor Adamu is getting quite frustrated. Just slashing away with both hands, but no direction, not moving in behind the punches. And there's no doubt about it that Adamu is a fair puncher, which obviously makes Tsypko very much more on the alert. A couple of jabs getting through there from Adamu. And you know, he's having his moments now. He's warmed up to this one. He's got slightly more familiar with Tsypko's style. And he'll be looking to build on that here. Tsypko, I believe, is still a couple of points in front coming into this 5th round. But it's a diminishing couple of points at the moment. Adamu must be getting pretty sick and tired of fighting these elusive sorts. Matthew Barney last time out must have been an absolute nightmare for him. He does need something to hit. coupled that to the fact that Tsypko's a southpaw. Then again, I think Matthew is as well. Matthew Barney, that is. And the problem here for Charles Adamu, he's just far too predictable. Everyone can work out what he's going to do next, particularly the man in front of him. Which doesn't augur well here for Adamu, although he might be getting a share of this round. Yeah, no, I'm going to go for him again in that round. 47 then, plays 48. Tsypko still in front by a point.
Das war die 5. Runde, liebe Boxsportfreunde. Der Heimatverein von Weltmeister Markus Bayer und dem neuen WBA Inter-Continental-Champion Heiko Zava ist der Boxclub in Schwarzenberg. Aus Schwarzenberg ist ein ganzer Fanbus gekommen und an der Spitze die Oberbürgermeisterin. Wir begrüßen Frau Heiko.
Bit of replay then from the 5th round.
Hier in Dresden.
Not a lot of success for Tsypko in that particular round. Adamu didn't have a great deal either, but just think he did slightly better. Yep, round 6 then. Still got Tsypko a point in front, 48 to 47. In rounds, that's 3 to 2. So Charles Adamu then in the red and gold. In fact, with the Ghanaian colours, I think, aren't they? Yes, the Ghanaian flag on his shorts against the Ukrainian. And the Ukrainian colours, I believe, are blue and yellow, aren't they? Adamu bowls a right. And there's no doubt about it, these two men are getting obviously more familiar with each other as this one goes on. And, you know, the question here is who's going to be the benefactor? The slippery counter-puncher, Tsypko, or the aggressive African? And that is the question. Charles Adamu needs to try and keep on the pressure here, take the fight a little bit more to Tsypko and cut him off, stop him escaping and retreating. Right hand there gets through again from Adamu. And so often this one's been so tightly contested, it's sometimes hard to find a win of the round.
Right.
But there's no doubt about it, Tsypko is very good at what he does. Well, there is just a typical story of this fight so far. Tsypko landing, Adamu punching 3 or 4 feet away from the target, which had already gone. Can you imagine a fight between Tsypko and Matthew Barney? It'd be Sammy Reese and Roy Smith all over again. Or as Jim Brady likes to say, not exactly Dempsey Firpo. There was so many knockdowns in that one, wasn't there? I can't remember exactly how many, but well worth seeing. Well, Adamu, I don't know. Difficult fight, difficult round to judge this. I think Adamu might just be edging it, and as a result, get himself level here, 57 points each. 6 gone, 6 to go, and for me, it's dead level.
Das war die 6. Runde, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren. Die Höhepunkte dieses Boxen.
Referee collects all the scorecards after the end of every completed round. Now given to the supervisor, who will calculate the scores on a running total basis. So, you know, there shouldn't be any waiting, but of course it all has to be checked. And then we get the official verdict. Then round 7 of this 12-round contest for the WBA International Championship. And just let me remind you, if you just joined us, Charles Adamu in the red and yellow in action against Vitaliy Tsypko from the Ukraine. Adamu from Accra in Ghana, undefeated so far in 7 pro fights, 6 wins inside the limit, 25 years of age. Tsypko undefeated in 13, and he's 26, and he's scored 8 knockouts, or 8 stoppage wins in those 13 victories. And at this point, I've got it dead level at 57 points each. 3 rounds apiece. And Adamu has certainly benefited, I think, from the experience of facing Tsypko here, because he's managed to work him out better than Tsypko has worked Adamu out. But don't forget, we all know how hard it is to get the nod on German soil against a German-based fighter, especially the house fighter, of which Tsypko is. And the rounds that, well, it's one of those fights, isn't it, where the rounds could go either way, they could be bang in the middle, and it all depends what you prefer. Boxing scoring is never objective. Nice bit of work there from Tsypko. Always subjective. Very, very hard to sit back and appraise things. But I seem to, well, I'd like to think I manage it. I'm not partial to either of these. So a completely impartial, unbiased verdict is what I hope I produce. It's what I hope you can produce for yourselves as well at watching at home. It's, as I say, it's not an exact science by any means, boxing scoring. Moreover, it's about impression. I think he won that round. I think he landed a good punch. Of course, there's no impression required in the event of a knockdown or a knockout. You know, that's just a simple fact. But if it all goes the distance and it is a close fight, sometimes we struggle to understand the reasons why it goes this way and not the other. Well, decent right there from Adamu, but looks like Tsypko's got his act back together here in the 7th round. Yeah, overall I think that's a better round for him, so goes back in front, and there's never been a point in this fight, I don't think, when Tsypko's been behind. 67-66 then, Ukraine leads by 1 point. Well, there's one of the popular heavyweights, Cengiz Koch, signing a couple of autographs.
Ringfrei zur 8. Runde, Round 8. Seconds out, please.
Here we go, then round 8. 5 to go, and looks like Tsypko's just got himself slightly back in the lead here. As I say, I'm not privy to the judges' scorecards, so and as I say, you can't please everybody, so you might as well just as well please yourself. So the first half of the fight then was sussed by Adamu, and there's been a slight change here by Tsypko. He's just a touch more aware now, a little bit quicker. And these are 2 difficult opponents for completely different reasons. Adamu's strong and uncompromising, Tsypko smart and cagey. Not the greatest mix you'll ever see, but Adamu there thinks he landed a good punch and tries to take the fight once again to Tsypko, spurred on by his corner. And I get the impression, you know, watching the Ukrainian boxers, that the Ukraine is quite a dull place to be. They don't seem to have a great deal to smile about, do they? If anyone that knows different, let me know. I just don't think the place is a bag of laughs. And here's an interesting little fact for if you didn't know. If you stand on top of the Hoover building on the A40 Western Avenue, there's no geographical features to stop you actually seeing straight into the Ukraine if your eyes were powerful enough. Now, not a lot of people know that. So just over a minute to go, then in round 8. Well, once again, Tsypko using this renewed vigour. He's producing the goods here in round 8. And Adamu's got to have a rethink, but he's running out of time. So there you are then, that's another round for Tsypko, 77-75 then.
Ringfrei zur 9. Runde, Round 9.
Here we go then, round 9 of this WBA International title fight, and Vitaliy Tsypko, for my money, has just gone 2 points in front of 77-75. He's in the blue against Charles Adamu from Accra in Ghana. An undefeated record is about to go. And having just said there that you can see straight into the Ukraine from the top of the Hoover building in West London, I was reminded by Richard Vaughan, who's one of our erstwhile commentators at Eurosport, that there's only one thing stopping you actually seeing into the Ukraine. I don't know how true this is, but he said it's the curvature of the Earth. Well, I'm not sure about that either, Richard. I'll have to do some checking. I'm not sure if there's a website that tells what the geographical features of the Earth are and how far you can see from a certain point. Anyway, back to round 9. Personal foibles aside for a moment, let's get back to the action here. And Adamu, I think, has completely run out of time now. He's got 4 rounds to make a big difference here. And don't forget, on the close rounds that I went in his favour, the judges may well have gone Tsypko's way. So, you know, really fighting an uphill battle here. Needs a knockout to win, quite possibly. And Adamu's still overreaching there and missing, sadly, for him. Tsypko must be the most well, apart from Matthew Barney, the most frustrating fighter to face. Actually, I like Matthew. He's a real nice guy. And he does what's good for him, and that's fine. Don't change it for anyone else, Matthew. Well, Adamu now beginning to, well, run out of ideas, basically. And there's no telling, of course, if he does land a bomb, what will happen to Tsypko? I've just got a feeling he won't. I mean, you get the impression that Tsypko might be quite fragile, which is why he's so good at defence. And I'll have to ask Richard Vaughan, by the way, what an entertaining place the Ukraine can be. Maybe he knows. Actually, he looks a bit like a Ukrainian at times, as another round ends in Tsypko's favour. 87, 84. 3-point gap then, 3 to go. Knockout required by Charles Adamu. Henry Masker, the former IBF Cruiserweight Champion of the world. Wilfred Sauerland, our promoter, with Manfred Volker, former World Olympic Champion. Who, of course, is a great trainer these days. So round 10, home straight, 3 to go. Adamu looks like he's going back to Africa empty-handed, apart from his duty-frees. And, well, this belt could be duty-free, couldn't it, really? And even if you had to pay the VAT, it wouldn't cost you a great deal, I'm afraid. The value of the belts has really plummeted. The best belt still is the Lonsdale belt. In my and many other people's opinions, it's got history. It's a beautiful, elegant belt. Some were made of solid gold, others are made of silver, and they really are a cracking belt. And most of these other belts are just good for holding up your trousers, if indeed they do that. And I remember knocking around with Cornelius Bozer-Edwards, the former super featherweight champion of the WBC, and Corny used to have his WBC belt in a carrier bag. And he felt so little about it, he actually left it on a bus a couple of times. It always got handed in. I was delighted to say I had my photograph taken with Randolph Turpin's old light heavyweight belt at one of the recent Brighton and Hove Sussex Xboxers Association do, with Ernie Price and all the lads down there. And it's an absolute belter, forgive the pun. So we've gone past the halfway point then in round 10, and Adamu still very much stuck for ideas here. Needs a big punch and needs it soon. And of course the other problem, you know, looking for a big punch, the more you look for it, the less chance there is of it absolutely appearing. Well, right to the body there from Adamu, left to the head as well, which came first. So the ancient sport of boxing then, still attracting many people. Not as many as it used to, of course, because so much has changed, so many options for people to spend their money these days. And the complexion of professional boxing throughout the world is changing far too quickly for my money, but that said, it can't change quick enough in some areas. So last 10 seconds of round 10.
Break.
And another round, I suspect, here for Vitaliy Tsypko, but it was a reasonably close one. Adamu had his moments there, didn't he? So 97 plays 93, a 4-point gap with 2 to play. So a bit of replay here then from the 10th round, and Adamu, known as the Crusader, takes a lovely left cross there from Tsypko in the 10th. So here we go then, round 11 coming up. Should we go?
Round 11.
Wolfgang Lai, our timekeeper and announcer, calls them out for the 11th round. So Vitaliy Tsypko, who's I think got a 4-point gap now, opened up in his favour with 2 to play. And Charles Adamu, he can't think he's winning this surely. And of course the Crusaders went to conquer. Adamu, he's going to have to change his name to the failed Crusader, I think, because he's not going to conquer a great deal here. Delighted to say I've had another communication from Richard Vaughan, who tells me that Ukraine is famous. I knew this anyway, for the Black Sea beaches, which resorts springing up all the time by the look of things. Kiev is the capital, and the nightlife has improved quite a lot in recent years, but don't expect the accommodation to be too deluxe. And of course, Ukraine famous for the wonderful tourist destination of Chernobyl. And if you don't mind waking up in the morning with some radioactive defects, be my guest. So thank you, Richard, for that. Last minute then of round 11. I'm sure that Ukraine is famous for far more than that, but I don't know if they've got any industry. Have they got any industry in Ukraine? Do they make cars? I don't really know. But I'm not working for the Ukrainian Tourist Board anymore, so that's me finished. So last 20 seconds of the 11th. 3 more minutes after this for Adamu to find a knockout blow. I wonder what the average wage in the Ukraine is. Be interesting to know that. So there you are, then another round then for Tsypko. Don't ask me why I'm preoccupied with the Ukraine all of a sudden. I've got no idea. 107 plays 102. This is getting quite embarrassing now for Adamu, who's not a bad fighter. As I say, he's the reigning Commonwealth champion, so that kind of puts it in perspective. The Commonwealth, of course, these days is by far and away a bit of a consolation prize for those who can't or don't win British championships or Europeans. It really has become, I believe, a fourth-rate title. Now, there's members of the British Boxing Board of Control, they won't thank me for saying that, but I'm afraid when you can pick from the top 20 or top 15 to defend your title, it's getting almost as bad as World Championship boxing, isn't it, when they go outside the top 100 to find a challenger. And it's true, folks, believe me. Here we go then, 12th and final round. So Vitaliy Tsypko, who's German-based, in action against Charles Adamu, who of course is from Ghana. By the way, Tsypko had, I think, his first 6 or 7 fights in his native Ukraine. He's also fought in Denmark, but the other 4, I believe, fights. I think this is only his 5th fight in Germany, but he's based with the promotional outfit, and he's on his way here to winning this title. As I say, what it'll do for him is quite another matter, because he won the IBF Intercontinental. That did nothing for him. He won the WBA, he's on his way to winning this WBA International, and ostensibly it should get you a top 30 place in the WBA, but I tell you what, who on earth would want to fight Tsypko? Nobody. And these days, the days of the number one, the champion being ordered to defend against the number one challenger are long gone. When was the last time you saw a number one against a number two? Jones and Tarver, maybe. Now, by the way, back to that question I was asked by email recently. Has there ever been a world champion who's never won a fight by knockout? Well, there's one that came to mind, reminded by Neil Haggarth, that Barry Jones, if you're watching Barry, always a pleasure to see you, mate. He had 18 wins, none of them inside the limit. And he was, of course, the WBO super featherweight champion. But a very smart boxer. 1 defeat, 1 draw. And if anyone knows any other world champions that never scored an inside scheduled win, I'd like to hear about it. Also, if you know any boxers over 7 feet 2 inches tall, I don't mean amateurs or unknowns. I want to know if you know any boxers that we can all identify with that are in excess of 7 feet 2. Minute to go then, 12th and final round. And Adamu, I think he's given up on himself, in fact, 3 or 4 rounds ago now. And Tsypko, well, winning this one almost never at a canter, because you have to work exceptionally hard to be this good. You know, it might look easy to him. That's only because he's so good at it. Got him with a 5-point lead coming into this last round. He's going to win this one as well. Another left cross getting through there from Tsypko. And Adamu getting even more frustrated as this one goes on. Well, I've got it 117, 111 if it stays like this, which is 9 rounds to 3.
Break! Hey.
Yep, there it is then. Well, Adamu thinks he's won it, and he must be in dream world if he thinks he's won this. Absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? You know, he had his ears boxed off for at least 9 of those 12 rounds. He thinks he's won it. He's a fool. Tsypko didn't celebrate for a second. Typical Ukrainian fashion. There's my old mate, Wolfgang Lai, my former German colleague, who will make the announcement. And Tsypko's walked it. I've got him winning, as I say, by the 6-point margin. 117, 111. And if you want to know how that works out, 117, 111. 111 off 120 is 9, and 117 off 120 is 3, so 9 rounds to 3. It's always got to add up to 120, and you can work out yourselves who won what in rounds. No knockdowns in that fight, so no double points anywhere. Forget it. You ain't won this one, my friend. And I think it's just wishful thinking on behalf of Adamu there. Oh, well, that's almost the end of our programme. I'm off to Chernobyl for a holiday.
Well done, well done. Well done. Pose him, pose him.
Actually, Richard Vaughan's dad, Albert's a big fight fan. Hope you're watching, Albert. Hope it's all going well, mate. Oh, well. Richard's informed me that they are quite big on the automotive industry in Ukraine, and they make starter batteries for vehicles. So that's something. But what he hasn't told me is if I can see, if there's anything that stopped me seeing into the Ukraine from the Hoover building in West London, is the curvature of the Earth going to stop me seeing it? I don't think so. I don't even know how far it is. What, 2,500, 3,000 miles possibly? but we haven't got time to really discuss that. Now here we have the final official verdict. 117, 111 for me. Here we go.
Und hier das Urteil. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the scorecards. Punktrichter Garcia Reyes aus Spanien wertete 117 zu 111.
Ah, same as me. 117, 111 from Spain.
111.
He knows what he's talking about.
Jean-Louis Leclerc aus Frankreich wertete 119 zu 110.
Cool, blimey. That's a big score. 10 rounds to 1 and 1 even from the French judge.
Deutschland wertete 117 zu 112.
Well, that's bad. Well, that's not too bad. 3 rounds to 9, no, 8 and 1 even from the German judge.
Vitaliy Tsypko.
So Tsypko, a clear winner there, and well, disappointment obviously on the face of Charles Adamu, but he was, as I say, barking up the wrong tree, thinking he'd got anything out of that at all. So the Crusader then does not conquer anything here in Deutschland, but there you go. Vitaliy Tsypko, the